Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Francisco Cantu and I'm back again for another live stream Monday. I had not done the Monday live streams on YouTube and Facebook in a few weeks, but I'm excited to come back with you all. I'm excited to share this hour of your time and hopefully give you as much value as possible. If you are joining for the first time, you haven't watched any of these presentations, what we do typically in this time is we go live here in the Best College Shade channel on both YouTube and Facebook. And every Monday we go live. We prepare a presentation that is relevant to whatever is going on in the world of college admissions. And we cover it. We do around 30 to 45 minutes of a presentation. Then we finish up with a Q&A session. So if you want to let me know in the chat already, whether again it's YouTube or Facebook, if you want to let me know if you are watching for the first time, you can drop a 1. Or if you are someone who's watched other of the live streams, you can put a 2 in the chat. And as I go through the presentation, I'm going to try to keep things very engaging. I'm going to be looking over the chat, but also know that I have both David and Laura from the Best College Aid accounts. They are going to be monitoring the chat. They're going to be answering any question if I don't get to it, which I will at the end of the presentation, though. So if you comment something and I don't acknowledge it or I don't see it, that's fine. I'm not ignoring it. I'm just going to wait to the Q&A portion of the presentation to answer it, all right? And speaking of the presentation, I don't want to bury the lead, so I'm going to go ahead and share with you all the topic of today's presentation. Today, we're going to be talking about how to earn more scholarships for college this 2023-2024 school cycle. So through Best College Aid, especially this time of the year, has been particularly busy with our students. And I've been doing a lot of advising, and this is the time where if you start working now and you put in the basis, you start, making the perfect list of colleges, which should have been done a few weeks back. But if you have not done so already, this is the time to do it. If you start applying for those private scholarships, if you ask for the recommendation letters, sooner rather than later, fill out the applications, go through the entire process in a structured fashion, there's no reason why you shouldn't be accepted at a school that meets both your academic and financial needs. But it's more than the process being difficult itself. It's more a matter of knowing what you should be doing at each step of the process. And hey, that's the whole point of these live streams. So hopefully in today's presentation, you earn a lot of value and you learn a few things that will help you on the road to college, but specifically about the financing aspect of college, because it's very much a big problem in this country that we're trying to help avoid. All right. So that is the topic of today's presentation, how to earn more money for scholarships. If you have not already done so, this is also your invitation to subscribe to our YouTube channel or like our Facebook page. That helps us grow. And because we haven't started the presentation yet, this is also a good time to share with other parents or other students who might be interested in learning a little bit more about the financing process for college. All right. So I want to get started with the slides in just a second, or with the presentation in just a second. But before I do so, I want to go ahead and give you all a quick little introduction of who I am. Again, my name is Francisco Cantu. I am going to briefly talk about my high school days, my college days, and then what we're doing at Best College Aid. Shouldn't take more than a minute. This is while we wait for more people to come in and while you share this video. And then we can go ahead and get started with the tips, all right? So first, let's start with high school. I'm just going to share those statistics because people in the process of college admissions want to know what people are doing and where they got accepted or where they went. So when I was in high school, my extracurriculars, I was a swimmer my whole life. I was a club swimmer that also did for high school. I was in student government. I was a class president for 3 out of the 4 years. I was in National Honor Society, in the debate team, and those were my main extracurriculars. As far as my GPA, I had a 3.79 unweighted, and I had the scaling at my school was fairly weird. So it was really, really elevated if you took AP classes. So my GPA was above a 5.0 for the scale that they did, but every high school can recalculate their own weighted GPA. Most colleges will recalculate it as well. So I took 12 APs, passed 11 of them, was able to transfer those credits. And yeah, those were my statistics. I was in the top 5% of my graduating class. I think I was like 19 out of 423. And I believe that's the most important stats. Oh yeah, I had a 31 on the ACT. But Why does that even matter, or why am I sharing any of this? Well, again, it's part of the story of how we do these live streams and what we're doing them. After I graduated from high school, I was accepted to UNC Chapel Hill. Between all the different schools that accepted me, they gave me a combined $1 million in financial aid and scholarships. UNC gave me a package that was worth $220,000, which allowed me to study abroad for a semester. And then while I was at UNC, I was also the president of the academic honors fraternity. After graduation, I was offered my dream job at one of the largest tech companies in the world. Uh, we had already started Best College Aid during my last 2 years of college, so decided to stick with that. And it's been 5 years since that decision was made, and we've helped millions of students, millions of families through our social media content, our training, our Best College Aid membership, and that is what we do now. And our students every year they receive thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to pay for college. Some of them receive more than $1 million between all the schools that accept them. And that is the quick little story that I wanted to share with you all before we got started with today's presentation. Again, this is the time to share it for other parents or to other parents, because they're going to get the most value. Once again, today's topic is how to earn more scholarships or colleges 2023, 2024. I just did the brief introduction to myself, just so that you know that, again, with the thousands of students who are members of Best College Aid and the millions of students who have registered for presentations and that have gotten value and that have told us that applying these tips help them earn extra scholarships and extra money, that is just my little pitch as to why you should be paying attention for this next 35 minutes of information that I'll be sharing with you all right? So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with today's presentation. Okay, so first I want to lay out some context as to what has been going on in the world of college admissions. In the last 30 years, the cost of college has gone, and again, this is divided, this statistics that I got specifically from the College Board. The cost of college has gone at a private four-year school from $21,000 to almost $40,000. The cost of a public four-year education has gone from $4,000 to $10,000, almost $11,000, and a public two-year school from $2,000 to $3,860. So obviously, there's inflation that is going to affect some of these numbers. So if we adjust for inflation over the same span, we can see that public four-year schools are 2.25 times more expensive now than they were in the 1990s. They are 1.8 more times as expensive than private schools are now than 30 years ago. And then public two-year schools are 1.65 times more expensive now than they were 30 years ago. Okay, so just wanted to open up with that stat so that you can understand, beyond me just telling you, oh, college is getting more expensive, but that you can graphically see the data that supports how college has, as a matter of fact, been getting significantly more expensive. So what's the result of this? Well, it's pretty evident. Student debt, as of this year, the student total debt is $1.7 trillion. Average student borrower borrows $37,000. The average parent that takes out money to support their students and takes a parent loan is they're taking out $29,000. Time to pay off the debt in 2023 is 20 years, or around 20 years. And there's all sorts of personal impacts and repercussions that this has on a person and the development of their lifestyle, as they have to prolong or they have to delay retirement. They wait to start a family. They cannot afford a house as easily as people could afford them back in the day, combined with other factors. But still, a lot of milestones are delayed because of high levels of student debt. All right, so what's the solution to this? It's going to seem pretty duh and evident when I say it, but then I'm obviously going to elaborate to give you more helpful context. But you want to put yourself in a situation in which you don't have to take out loans. So how do you not take out loans? Well, you earn money to go to college, and you earn money through scholarships and financial aid. Now, when we look at the different sources of scholarships and financial aid, in Best College Aid, we categorize them in four categories. We use federal, state, institutional, and private aid. And as I was preparing for this presentation, obviously I wanted to have documentation that would back up or that would corroborate, what we're saying, or that would give out more context as to these different types of money and aid. And if you look at the numbers of the most recent school cycles, we can see that in the 2021-2022 school cycle, out of all the money that was given out These were $140 billion that were given out to students as part of their financial aid and scholarship packages. 9% came from state grants. So state grants, if a student goes to college in the same state that they went to high school in and they meet certain qualifications, they get state money. Private aid and scholarships are, as the name suggests, money that comes from private corporations, private entities. It could be a company, it could be an individual, it could be a charity, it could be a private entity that gives out money to students to pay for college. That's 12% of all money that was given out for students for their education. Then if we go to the federal government, and mostly that is money that gets given out in the form of Pell Grants and federal aid that gets unlocked through the FAFSA. Well, that made up around 26% of all the money that students got for college. But an overwhelming majority, and this is a tendency or a trend that has been particularly the case, I mean, in the last 30 years, with a few exceptions in 2009, 2011, when there were more government-sponsored packages to help students. If we look at the overwhelming majority or the trend over the last few years, especially this last year, 53%, the grand majority of the money that students got to finance their education came from institutional aid. And what I mean by institutional aid, that is money, that is scholarships, those are grants that get given to students or that are given out to students through the universities that they will be attending. Now, money gets given out, money gets distributed for many reasons. There is merit-based awards and there are need-based awards, and the university has policies for each of them. They can give out the presidential scholarship for a student who did XYZ thing, or they can have the University of blank state for scholarship for students with excelling artistic abilities, or whatever scholarship they have in place. Every university has their own procedures, their own policies, and some are need-based, some are merit-based, okay? With that being said, not all colleges are equally as generous, okay? Different schools will have different percentages of demonstrated financial need that they satisfy. So your big state school versus your private school from 2 states over might have different degrees of generosity or different percentages of financial need of their applicants that they satisfy, okay? And the reason for this is that basically colleges have something called endowments. That's money that gets used for building infrastructure, paying professors, giving scholarships to students. And different schools have different amounts of money in their endowment funds. And the endowments, pretty much that money comes from revenue generating activities, donations from alumni, or funding, whether it's from the state government, federal government, or whatever. But most of it comes from alumni donations. And if you think about it, it's a pretty logical cycle. You know, colleges with or institutions with large endowments have enough money to give out scholarships to high accomplishing students who might not have the funds to pay for college themselves, but they have the social ladder mobility of going to a great institution. They get their education, and then because they got a great degree from a great institution, then they have a high paying job that equips them with disposable income. And then what do they do with some of that disposable income? Donate it back to the school that gave them scholarships. All of a sudden, the school's endowment funds grow and grow, and then they have more money to give out to students who need those scholarships, who then eventually go and climb the ladder. So it's a self-fulfilling cycle, and that is typically why you tend to see why some of the most high accomplishing schools are the ones that have the highest level of generosity, right? So the whole point here, and this whole premise and this whole context creation and everything that I'm trying to explain here is that it is in your best interest, especially right now that we are in September, or maybe you're watching this in a future year, or maybe you're watching this a week from now, 2 weeks from now, whenever you're watching this, the whole point or what you should be getting out of this is that you should consider the institution's level of generosity as a primary factor. I think there are two main factors that are your non-negotiables. Your non-negotiables are what you want to study and what you want to major in, and the university being generous. Okay, so you want to make sure that the school that you're attending offers, or that your student is attending, offers the degrees and the academic programs that they want to study. And it's increasingly less and less of a phenomenon because, again, social media and increased access to the internet that can gives students more of an idea as to what the better programs are or what the careers offered by each school are. But still, a lot of students don't even take that into consideration. They just apply where their friends apply, and then, oh, surprise, I want to study pre-med, and we don't really have pre-med opportunities here. Or they want to be engineers, and the school doesn't have an engineering program. Or they have, instead of having civil engineering, the school only offers biomedical engineering. So that is a non-negotiable, that the school offers what they want to study. And another non-negotiable is, or should be, in my opinion, that the university satisfies above a 75%, 90%, 100% of the family's financial need. Now, if you're a student that has a ridiculous amount of merit, and that you can get a lot of merit-based awards, whether it's by being an athlete or being highly intelligent, well, here's the thing. Number one, you might not need a school that satisfies your financial needs. But even if you did, the schools, as I mentioned earlier, that are high accomplishing also are very, very generous. So it's kind of a nice little problem to have. But yeah, those are things that you should definitely keep in the forefront of your mind, because if you make a final list of 8 to 12 schools, and those 8 to 12 schools are known to offer the degrees that you want to pursue and are known to be very generous, then even if you get accepted to your backup choice or your safety school or your target school, you're still going to be well off in terms of studying what you want to study and not going into debt. All right. Why? Because again, 53% of the 2021-2022 money that got given out to students as part of their financial aid and scholarships came from institutional grants. So the biggest investment that you can make, or the best bang for buck or return on investment that you can get, is applying to schools that are generous, because odds are that half of your financial aid award is going to come from those schools, right? And again, this is the national average. This is including students that don't even take that into consideration, just apply to a bunch of schools. Like, for us, for me and my siblings, around 83%, 85% of our money came from institutions. And the best college aid students, because we live by this and we live by generous universities, they follow the same pattern of around 80% of their financial aid award packages come from the institutional level. And it's great because that doesn't disqualify you from federal money, or that also doesn't disqualify you if you qualify for state grants, but also if you want to continue to apply, which our students do, to private scholarships, they can continue to do so. So that is the winning strategy that I'm sharing with you all today, okay? So that is the main tip that I wanted to share with you all. Free resources, because I am going to be checking out the chat. Again, if you haven't had a chance to ask your questions, you can go ahead and ask them right now. But as I wait for questions to be asked, I do want to let you know that free resources that we have. Number one, this training or this live stream will be recorded and posted on both Facebook and YouTube. So if you came in late, you can watch it there. And then, additional to this, there is a free presentation that is in the description of this video. And I'm going to show it right now on YouTube. I'm going to screen share in just a second. But basically, if you are watching us on YouTube, which I'm kind of muted if I'm going to share. All right, there we go. So yeah, if you can see my screen, this is the YouTube video of me going live right now, pretty meta. And then if you exit out the video and you scroll down to the description of the video, you will see, let's see if I'm doing it correctly. You can see here in the description that there's a more button, and then there's a free training here that once you click it, and let's see if I'm doing it correctly. Yeah. Once you click on it, you will be redirected to the page with the free training. Again, you just put in your email on your phone so you get the access code, and that we can send you the email with the credential. And it also keeps you in the loop of everything that we promote and that we have to share, and all the reminders that we keep sending out in terms of the college application process and everything that Best College Aid is all about. Again, that's another free resource. It's a free training, and in that free training, which, let me go ahead and share my slides back again. In that free training, I pretty much go over, let's see. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to fit the screen once again. There it is. No, it's not. Okay, I'm just going to talk to you all while I do this portion. Okay, so basically this in this training I cover the main components that we teach every year to students. Again, this today, what I talked about institutional aid, is just one of the main components of the college application process, because there's still the application aspect to it, increasing odds of acceptance. There's the essay writing, there's the what colleges look for, there's the private scholarship aspect to it. So there's a bunch of different other components that we do share in these live streams, but we do them on a week-to-week basis, whatever's topically relevant. Whereas in that presentation, because it's so long and because I can go a little bit more in depth in terms of the slides and the preparation, that one is kind of all mashed into one all-encompassing training that, once again, you can find in the link below this video if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. All right. So that is it as far as plugs, shameless plugs that I had for you all today. I'm looking at the chat and there don't seem to be any questions. So I'm going to assume that that's because everything was explained correctly. And if you have any further questions or you're looking for good resources, remember this video will be posted to both our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. And you can check out the free presentation, the free training in the link below this video. All right. Once again, my name was Francisco Cantu, and I was very thankful. I'm very thankful for you all sharing this time with me today. I will see you all next week. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your week and check out that